Hey everybody, welcome to Daily Signals Facebook Live. I am Genevieve Wood, and we are in Lafayette Square Park, which is right across the street from the White House. You can't really see the White House too well through the trees, but we are out here because there is a demonstration going on today called the No Muslim Ban Ever rally. And so you have a number of folks assembled here who are protesting the president's travel ban. And many of you know the president instituted a travel ban. Now this is for the third time because he keeps getting rebuffed by certain courts. Okay, the speakers are getting started here. So these folks are protesting. The third travel ban was supposed to go into effect today, October 18th, but a judge in Hawaii, I think the same judge who blocked the second travel ban, has blocked this one. The White House has said they're going to go directly to the Supreme Court, or they're going to go directly to the courts on this and ask them to reinstate the ban. But in the meantime, it's stalled. So we want to talk to some of these folks, find out why they don't think the president, as the executive, has the right to institute travel bans against certain countries, which other presidents have done in the past, and find out why they're so incensed about this particular one and where they think the battle's going to go from here. So let's walk through and talk to some folks and just give you a sense of who's in the crowd. Hey, we're doing a Facebook Live just about the rally and asking people why they're here. Do you mind sharing with us why you're here?
That guy could do it.
Which guy?
Over there, the one with the hat. Yes,
Well, you can tell. You got signs. What do your signs say?
we stand for refugee
And where are you from, sir?
from Yemen.
Yemen. And why do you think the president's travel ban is a problem?
It is a problem because we come to America to have a better life and live, it's better health, better educations. This is our country. We feel like we are in our country. We've been here. I've been here for 15 years. This is my country, basically.
But he's not asking you to leave.
He's not, but he's, refusing other people, which is, they want to come here to have better life and leave from the war.
Let me ask you this. For those, who say, okay, look, we want to welcome refugees, but we're also concerned that some countries, Yemen being one of them, their government's not always in control of their borders. And so we're concerned about the fact that government's not able to enforce its own borders and make sure they know who's leaving and who's coming to our country. Shouldn't that be a concern?
It is big concern because, we feel, this is our country and the other people, they come to here to have a better life, So it's a big concern because we feel like other countries, why just only Muslim people?
Well, no. It's not picking Muslim countries. It's saying Yemen, for example, is a country where the government there isn't in control of its own borders many times. And so they aren't in control of who's going and who's coming, which makes it dangerous in terms of who's coming from there to here at times.
Well, we feel like, especially Yemen, we are, it's the war over there, so everybody trying to come here and live better.
So you're concerned about the people that are there suffering and who want to get out.
Yes, of course, we live.
Thank you very much. See, you can talk. You don't have to sit there. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's keep moving along here. Maybe we'll go this direction. Let me talk to this lady right here. Hey, ma'am, we're doing a Facebook Live. You look like you're somebody who's very involved in this issue. Good. Can you tell us your name and where you're from?
Hi, sure. I'm Alice Sturm-Sutter, and I'm from New York City.
And did you come in town just for this event?
I did. Yeah, I took a night bus.
And why I mean, you've got a lot of reasons I think you're here, but why was this important for you to be here?
Right. Well, I'm so upset to see many things that this president is doing, but to see him discriminate against a group of people, which creates hatred and prejudice in the country. And when he makes statements like banning Muslims, then that makes people in the country suspicious of their Muslim neighbors and makes them treat people badly and creates this whole climate of hatred. And so many people living in fear. I also do some work with people who are refugees and people seeking asylum in this country, and they're so frightened right now, and for good reason, because many of them have been rounded up. Even in New York, we're supposed to be a sanctuary city, but many of our neighbors who are immigrants have been rounded up, and it just makes me sick. And I think he's using it as a cover to get us all excited, which we have to be on issues like this. That's why I came down. But we also have to be upset because he's making wars and he's bombing and he's escalating violence all over the planet. and he's spewing oil.
Where do you think he's starting wars?
Well, certainly he's upping the wars in Afghanistan and in Syria. The bombings have killed countless civilians. And there's a website called Air Wars. And if we look at it, we could see the civilians who've been killed. I think we don't realize it because we've had so many crises after crisis. Yemen is a disaster now. They have cholera. The people can't get clean water.
I was actually just talking to a man over here who's originally from Yemen. He's been in the United States for about 15 years. But one of the things that we talked about is the problem with Yemen, among some of the other countries that are on the president's travel ban, is that many of these are countries that are in turmoil, as you rightly point out. The governments there don't have a lot of control of their own borders, and so therefore they can't control who's coming to this country. And so as much as you want to help refugees, doesn't the president, whether it's President Trump, whether it was President Barack Obama, who also had a travel ban of many of these same countries, don't they have an obligation to make sure that they're keeping our borders safe and not letting people in who might be here to harm our citizens?
Sure. Well, we already have a vetting process that's been in place and it's worked. I mean, if we look at the violent crimes in our country, they haven't been done by immigrants. And they haven't, for the most part, haven't been done by Muslim people. They've been, like just recently we had an old white man, not old, he's my age, but I mean, he just built a one-man artillery. So why aren't we banning weapons? Why aren't we banning these deadly weapons?
Well, a lot of weapons are banned. but what about, I mean, look, but even President Obama banned many of these same countries. They were on a travel ban that he put together, and you didn't see demonstrations like this. Is this as much about Donald Trump as it is about the travel ban itself?
Yeah, I'd say for me, yes. For me, yes. Well, I would always stand up for immigrants and for refugees, and there are more refugees than ever on the planet because of the destruction of the planet, which is an environmental issue, which Trump is escalating by allowing oil and fracking and all kinds of processes that are destroying the earth. But yes, it certainly is. For me, it certainly is about Trump.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us. We greatly appreciate it. I know are you going to be here all day?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm going to be here for the whole demonstration.
All right. Thank you very much. Where are you from? We're based here in D.C., the Daily Signal. So hi, everybody in America out there. Thank you. All right, we'll keep walking through this direction. Oh, let's talk to the Code Pink folks over here. Got a lot of people doing a little photo shoot here. We don't want to get in their way. Okay, let's walk through. Hey, can we ask you guys who you are and where you're from and why you're here?
We're Code Pink. We're from different parts of the country, and we're here because we believe that we're all one human family, and we're disgusted by the way the Trump administration has been treating our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Now, this is obviously a travel ban. This is the third time it's come into play. But let me play devil's advocate here. Some of these same countries were on President Obama's travel ban. Did you protest then?
We've always been protesting a travel ban. We believe that this country, the reason we're dressed up as the Statue of Liberty, because we've always been a place where people were invited with open arms to come here and seek refuge, especially people who are fleeing war, like people from Syria, Libya, Iraq, in some cases like Iraq and Libya wars that we helped to start. And so we're always against a travel ban. In fact, we think we're against travel bans for Americans not being able to travel anywhere. We feel that this should be one world where borders are fluid and people can come and go depending on their needs.
What about, in this particular, this is the third iteration, as you probably know, the travel ban, in addition to some of the countries that have been on it for some time, Chad, Yemen, Syria, and so on. The president added North Korea officials, not all North Koreans, but North Korean officials. Do you not think that's proper, considering what's going on in their country and the oppression of their own people?
Of course that's not proper. The main thing you want is interaction. If you want people to have a better view of America, let them in here. And I think it's important for the back and forth, for the citizen-to-citizen exchanges. Those are things that can help ease the tensions at a time like this.
Thank you very much for talking with us. Appreciate it. All right, let's make our way back around the stage. I want to make sure we don't get in front of the folks in the stage here. Now, one thing that you'll notice as we're walking around, and just Lauren, if you can get some of the signs here, you see Human Rights Campaign signs, You see the Code Pink folks that I just spoke with. This event has been put together by about 10 different organizations. One of them, I think the lead group, is the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, which, by the way, many people consider to be somewhat of a front group for terrorist organizations like the PLO and others. But so many of the other groups involved are some of the groups you would see at May Day rallies and pretty much any protest against Trump. They're here. So the Women's March, for example, are a part of the protests they're putting this event together as well. So just to give you a sense, I mean, as one of the first lady we talked to said, this is about the travel ban, but it's also about the fact she just doesn't like President Trump. So that may not be true of everyone here. The Code Pink ladies seem to say that they were against all bans, including the ones that President Obama had. But let's keep walking around and talking to some more folks. So now this gives you a perspective of kind of where we are. You can see the White House here in the background. And this, again, is Lafayette Square Park, which is right across from the White House. And every day, whenever you come out here to this is Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the White House, and you can't drive down it, but usually you can walk down it. But every day there's always different barricades and barriers up. So this protest, I think, was probably meant to be a little bit closer, but they got probably pushed to the side because there's more barriers up in front of the White House today. Their goal here is they're going to have some speakers. Then they plan to march, my understanding is, down to the Trump International Hotel, which is about, 5 blocks from here? Morgan, I'm asking our producer Morgan, about 5 blocks from here, and then they say they're going to go on to the Customs Department, International Customs Department. So this is all going to be taking place between now and about 3:30 p.m. Now, again, a Hawaii District Court has halted this third attempt at a travel ban. So even though they were having this today because supposedly it was going to go into effect today, much of that ban has been put on hold. But the Justice Department says what they are still enforcing is the ban against North Korean officials and certain officials from Venezuela from being able to come and go freely from the U.S. And they say they're going to appeal the entire junction against the travel ban to the court system. Now, as you know, the last time, not a few months ago, the Supreme Court did take up the travel ban issue. They allowed much of it to go through, but they said some of the restrictions had to stay in place. But it's very likely it's going to go right back to the Supreme Court again, just with this third one. So, all right, let's try to find one more group and just see if we can get a little different perspective here. Hey, guys, you all look like you're having a good time. Hey, I'm Genevieve with the Daily Signal, and we're doing a Facebook Live just about the event. Can you all tell me who you are, where you're from, and why you're here? Oh, they're going to put you on the spot.
My name is Carlos Ali. I'm here to protest what's been going on. It's not right how Donald Trump is doing to people. I think everybody should be allowed to come here and live life, just like everyone.
And where are you from, Carlos?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Did you come in just for this event, or do you live in D.C. now?
I came for this event here.
Now, when you say that everybody should be able to come and go, the president would say this isn't about specific people. This is about certain countries that are on the list, like Libya, Syria, and others. There's war going on in some parts of the world there. These governments oftentimes aren't in control of their own borders and citizenry. And so, therefore, even though we have rules about vetting who can come and go from this country, those countries aren't able to enforce those rules, and therefore bad actors can get into our country and harm our citizens. So how do we protect that? Or how do we enforce that?
Okay, well, what you just said is true. You do have to worry about certain people trying to harm us over here, but you can't judge everybody, though. Everybody not trying to do that. So you can't just cut off one person for what you think somebody else is going to do. You got to let everybody come and give them a chance.
But this isn't a permanent ban. It's a limited time, and stressing to these governments and others that they've got to be able to get in control of their processing in terms of knowing who is going and coming, who they're allowing to exit their country before we allow more people in. Isn't that a fair thing to do for the American people?
Not coming from Donald Trump, no. I don't think he's a fair person at all.
Okay, so let me ask you that question then. Is this as much about Donald Trump as it is the ban?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's about everything that Donald Trump does is not right.
You can't think of one good thing he's done?
No, I can't. Not really. Every time I see him, he's really talking bad about people, talking down on other people. Most of the black community he's talking down on, the Mexicans, the Arabics. It's not right. And I've seen pictures when Donald Trump was a kid. He's been like that his whole life. I don't see how he won the election anyway. It's crazy if you ask me.
Well, he did win your state of Michigan. Barely, but he did win the state of Michigan. Well, listen, thank you for talking. Are you all going to be here all day? You're going from here to the hotel, and then is it my understanding you're going to end at the customs building? Is that right? Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Anybody else want to talk? You're the front man. Thank you, Carlos, very much for speaking with us. We appreciate it. And who's on the? Is this any particular individual on your sign, or just a example of someone?
It's just an example of an Arabic man.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys very much. Watch our court. All right, well, let's walk right through here. Hello. Okay, so I think it gives you a fairly good flavor. And we talked to 3 or 4 different groups there of who's here in general. I mean, you have people coming from out of town. The First Lady was from New York. This gentleman was from Detroit. Again, this is put on by about 10 different groups, most of which I think are based in the D.C. area. And as you can see, as both Carlos said at the end and the First Lady said that we talked to her at the very beginning, this is about the travel ban, but it's also a lot about people who just don't like Donald Trump. They don't like any of his policies, and so this is another one that they can actually come out and protest against. So again, they're going to be protesting here for probably about the next 30 minutes to an hour. They're going to have some speakers, then headed to the Trump Hotel, and then the Customs House. We will continue to follow this issue. Thanks everybody for being with us, as always, right here on the Daily Signal's Facebook Live.